Okay, everyone. Sorry, the sun is bisecting my face right now. I am in Granville, Illinois, I think. I'm at Putnam County High School to see School of Rock, one of my all-time favorite movies. So I'm trying to temper my expectations because how can I expect anybody to live up to Jack Black and that cast? But I love that movie. So I'm hoping I'll enjoy the show. This is one of those shows that I'm hoping that it's not too similar to the movie. And I'm hoping that it is kind of different. Just because I know the movie so well. Some of the marketing that they've put out has included the phrase, the next generation. And I don't know if that's just something that the musical itself has attached to it. Because in the casting... the character bios or whatever that they've been posting, everything that I've seen has been the same characters, so I don't think it's like a sequel or anything. So that's kind of strange. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but it's a school show, which means tons of people are here early, which means I'm gonna head in and try to get a good seat. Oh boy, you hate to see it, but it's another part 2 in the car, and I'm in a hurry. But we're talking about School of Rock. Pause for the thumbnail. Right away, props for an interesting program. They're using that 11 by 17 ledger paper, or whatever else it's called. Not the way that I'm going to use it, but it stands out. It's interesting. It's unique. The color, while simple, is thematically related to the story. School of Rock. So I did try and research what the next generation is referencing. I was like, maybe there's different versions of this. Maybe this is their version of kids or junior versus a full show. I couldn't find any information. So if anybody knows what specifically that refers to, let me know. But very quickly, I'll say this. Of the kids actually performing, a lot of them were not great singers, but I think that works for this show, even though it's a musical, because it's about rock, right? And rock ain't about getting an A. And it's just, the emotion behind it and not necessarily the skill itself. So that was all fine. The best singer was Tamika, which makes sense. The guy playing Dewey did a really good job of all the Dewey stuff. He also really seemed like he was a senior, and he really seemed like he was kind of really helping out as a leader with a lot of the younger kids. A lot of the kids in this, both actors and the characters of the students, a lot of them were middle school, including 5th graders. So it wasn't just high schoolers. I would say it was primarily junior high or younger, with a few high schoolers filling out the staff and the parent roles. But there were multiple times where, kind of like what I talked about with the girl that played Mary Poppins in that show, there were just a lot of times where it seemed like he was kind of surveying and making sure everyone was in the right spot. Maybe that's not what he was doing. It wasn't as obvious as the Mary Poppins, but it seemed like he was kind of watching out for everyone. He also did a really, really good job. A lot of times when you go to musicals like this where... Sorry, my eye is itching today. Where they're playing the music from a CD track or probably not a CD, but from a track rather than a live pit. These songs have these long either build-ups or interludes or whatever, where there's a lot of movement, and so it takes the music takes a really long time to get to the next part, to make sure that the kids have enough time to get to where they need to go. But when they do, there's just this really awkward pause where everyone's just waiting for the song to start or for the next section to start. The guy that played Dewey was really good about filling that time, just kind of vamping and ad-libbing and being like, okay, and okay, are we ready? Are we good? And not making it obvious and not breaking the fourth wall. Not are we ready? Are we ready for that song? But okay, kids, you ready? He did a really good job of filling that awkward fill time. So that's pretty much all I have to say for the actors themselves. But the show, I love the movie School of Rock. And I really enjoyed, watching this performance. But there were a few things that stuck out to me, and the more I've pondered on them and sat on them, I just find it kind of strange. And really, the biggest thing is that it comes down to is the amount of profanity and substances and other sensitive material in this show was very surprising to me. And like, you might be saying like, well, that stuff is in the movie. There was more of it in the show than in the movie. More profanity in the show, more references to substances than in the movie. And not only that, as I was thinking about it, this show had the most profanity of any show I've seen so far this year. This is my 30th show. And that's not to say it has the worst, right? Because a lot of the words are like kind of low-level swears. But like in terms of the number of swear words said and the number of actors saying them. Because there were songs that the whole children's ensemble full of middle school and 5th grade students, there were swears in one of those songs that was repeated like 4 or 5 times throughout the show. And there were swears in other songs. So it just kind of stuck out to me as a teacher that like, that's kind of a lot. And I question how parents would react to that. And if any kids were not allowed to be in the show because their parents didn't want them swearing. And like, I'm not really a clutching my pearls type of guy when it comes to things like that, but it was a lot. And you might be thinking like, well, the whole show is about sticking it to the man, right? And not doing what everyone says. And like, that's all well and good, but the kids aren't writing the show. The kids didn't make that decision. Those were adults that made those decisions. So it just feels, it gives me the ick a little bit. And what is more interesting, I think, because it's like, if you're going to do that, right? If you're the guy, Andrew Lloyd Webber wrote the music. Like there are well-respected people behind this. If you're gonna make that decision and be like, we're gonna go farther than people would expect, like it's weird for a school show. And that's the other thing is like, it's not even. This guy just walked right behind my van. It's not even just that like it's a mature show, and like, well, maybe high school shouldn't have done it, right? Or maybe a school that more than half their cast is in junior high shouldn't have done it, right? Even a professional version of this show is going to feature a lot of child actors. So, like, weird call. But, like, if you're going to go that far, then on the other end, what stuck out as strange to me was that, again, in this same song that's repeated multiple times throughout the show, there's the line, stick your middle finger out. But nobody does that. Not the kids, not the adult characters, not Dewey. Nobody does that. So it's like, so there is a line. Someone decided that was too far, that was too much. But like that, I feel like is more visually interesting. You can do stuff with the choreography of that. And like, based on being a teacher for 13 years, kids like to flip the bird. They love to take pictures of them flipping the bird. They like to do it because it's silent. And they do it in class when they think the teacher's not looking. Whereas with profanity, they don't do that as much in class because they know that the teacher can hear them. So it feels maybe safer because some people might view that act as worse than the profanity. But it feels not accurate to how children of that age actually behave in real life. So that all was kind of strange to me. They switched out the song that No Vacancy plays, and I couldn't figure out why. It's not any more appropriate for kids. And like the song in in the movie, the song that No Vacancy sings, the Heartbreak or Heartache or whatever it is, it's the kind of song that like someone like Dewey would think is cheesy and bad and lame, like he says in the movie. But you could understand that like a bunch of people in an audience or a bunch of casual listeners, like it's catchy and it, you know, kind of hits that vibe that a lot of pop ballad songs do. And so it makes sense. But the song in the show is called I'm Too Hot for You, and it's just snobbish and rude and the kind of thing that like Meghan Trainor or Ariana Grande might get away with. But those songs aren't as common and aren't as popular and aren't as well liked. And so when No Vacancy still wins at the end with that song, it doesn't feel quite as believable. So that was odd. Also, like, I know this is just how it works at schools and it's not anybody's fault. I would love to see this show where the actual actors perform the instruments. And what was weird about this is that there was one song, the math song, where the kid playing Dewey had an acoustic guitar, not the main electric one that he uses throughout the show, and he actually played that song. So he knew how to play that much, but he wasn't playing the other songs. So that was interesting. But yeah, just a couple of weird choices. They put the Queen of the Night Sonata in this, and they had the character of Roz, the principal, was also the music teacher in this show, which that part's fine, but like she sings this Queen of the Night. I said sonata. I think it's an aria. I don't know. The Mozart piece, which is famously a difficult piece to sing, even for trained singers. So to put that in a show that you expect children to be participating in, that's kind of an odd choice. And then it like comes back at the end with a rock version, and I'm just like, why is this in here? This is strange. So, strange decisions from the creative team, the writers, and Andrew Lloyd Webber and their musical choices. But I thought the kids did a really good job. It was really entertaining. I was laughing and smiling the whole time. And it was different enough from the movie. Like, there were a lot of lines that were the same, but I wasn't feeling like, oh, he said that wrong too many times. Like, there were quite a bit of things that were different. And things that were changed or added that I thought worked well. So I really enjoyed the show, and the kids did a pretty good job. It's just one of those things that makes me think and makes me question and makes me wonder. But I gotta go pick up my food. So that's gonna do it for me. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.